How on earth do you defend yourself from an accusation of being racist or something? Depends entirely on the context behind the accusation. No. And walk away. Maybe something like, I take that seriously. I would never want to do anything racist. Would you mind explaining what I did to give you that impression? As with all things, your mileage may vary. Ask them for details and do some self-reflection. If you're still convinced they're acting in bad faith, disengage and say I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm a Caucasian teaching middle school for 30 years in mostly African American schools. I hear it all the time, literally. I refuse to address it. If you think I'm racist because I wanted your kid to sit down at the start of class, I got nothing to say to you at all and I'm not going to discuss it. At all. Ask why. Why do you say that? We all have some racist ideas that are so deeply ingrained we aren't aware they're inaccurate or offensive. I'd want to become aware if I were unintentionally offensive, invalidating, or dismissive of someone due to my own ignorance. This is assuming the person telling me is someone I know personally and a relationship worth continuing and building. If it's some random on the internet, I might be uninterested in their opinion, especially if it's off-topic rage bait. Depends on the context. A lot of people immediately get defensive when accused of racism, which is understandable. But I think people also need to understand that that action was racist is not the same as you are a racist. You could said something racist, but it's about intent. Ask them to explain. However, if someone is calling you racist in bad faith, unlike the typical Reddit replies telling you to in response actually be racist back, which would then just make the accusation hold weight, I'd just go okay and disengage, because as soon as someone uses that in bad faith, it's not worth arguing with them. What you're describing is a Kafka trap, a bad faith tactic whereby you make a baseless accusation and then claim that any attempt to defend yourself from it is evidence of guilt. Tell them to provide actual evidence. Ask them to explain. Maybe you were doing something you were not aware of and you can learn from it. Example? X200B. I don't think I'm racist, but I am pretty old. Being born in the 80s means I grew up with certain attitudes being more acceptable than they are today. Gay jokes and the R word were normal daily shit in the 90s. We know better now and don't call each other homophobic slurs for fun anymore. Well, it depends on what happened or what you did or said, because if you truly did say something racist, then you can deny it all you want, but no one will believe you. But you could have said or done something that seems racist to the other person, and you could simply ask why they think you're racist, because maybe you're doing something unintentionally. If someone is just calling you that to call you that, then there's also no way to defend yourself, because the other person is being an ass or a troll. Ask how you were racist. You can either call their bullshit or edify yourself by simply asking them to give specifics on how you were racist. Maybe asking what makes them think that and being open to considering their response without jumping to defensiveness is a place to start. I taught for a while and pretty regularly got accused for either being racist, sexist, or some other ist when a student got a bad grade. I just calmly explained how any ist didn't come into the picture and then pulled out the rubric, where I could explain every point lost. If it ever went further, which it honestly didn't, I was also prepared to show my records, where I had a variety of every category of person getting As, BS, CS, and failing. So, it's not like all of one type of person is failing or not. So, the best defense is just not being racist, in my field of work. Simply ask them to explain. It's fine to not understand or be ignorant of something. If they're unwilling to inform you, ask where you might learn that information. Basically, don't be defensive. Don't apologize until someone can meet you where you stand. But if you're trying to engage with open honesty, people will see it and explain. Otherwise, what you're trying to is deflect. That's why the defenses you listed sound so hollow. They're not a defense, they're a deflection. The best defense is leering. If you're willing to learn and grow, the worst thing that happens is you're wrong sometimes. And then you do better. And sometimes, you get to learn you're right, and the individual upset with you only speaks for themselves. If it isn't true, then tell them to FO. If we allow people to take control of our lives without any burden of proof, it will lead to a huge swarm of tyrants making life miserable for everybody. I don't. If people want to accuse me, then the burden of proof is on them. I know where I stand, and if people want to challenge that, then they better be damn ready to explain why they think I am a racist. If they accuse me of being something I am not, they better be ready for some uncomfortable questions about why they feel that they are entitled to pass judgment on others. You've gotten some good advice here, but it would help to know what would lead to someone calling you racist and who is the person telling you. A trusted friend reacting to something I said or did would get a much more thoughtful response than some random person on the street yelling at me just for walking by. I believe it was Dave Chappelle that said calling someone a racist is the weakest form of insult, because the accuser can't prove it and the accused can't deny it.